एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। मैं हूं प्रियंका और आज हम जाने वाले हैं शिकागो क्रूज़ टूर पर। जैसे कि मैंने आपको लास्ट वीडियो में बताया, शिकागो ये आर्किटेक्चर के लिए जाना जाता है और ये स्काईस्क्रैपर्स का बर्थ प्लेस माना जाता है। यहाँ के यूनिक आर्किटेक्चर के स्काईस्क्रैपर्स आज हम इस वीडियो में देखेंगे। साथ ही इस वीडियो में हॉलीवुड और बॉलीवुड मूवीज़ के शूटिंग लोकेशंस भी देखने मिलेंगे। बॉलीवुड में धूम 3, हॉलीवुड में डार्क नाइट, बैटमैन बिगिंस, ट्रांसफॉर्मर, डार्क ऑफ द मून मूवी शूटिंग लोकेशंस यहाँ देखने मिलेंगे। मैंने वीडियो क्लिप्स भी ऐड की है जिससे आप रिलेट कर पाएंगे।
Star of Chicago. Star Chicago is a Coast Guard special passenger vessel, which basically just means we meet and exceed all the Coast Guard requirements for onboard safe remain training. If you need dimensions, and on the side of the vessel, both top deck and bottom deck, you'll find life jackets. These life jackets are hard to miss. Second tallest building in Chicago is that silver and blue glass building straight ahead from the International Hotel and Tower, built in 2009. As I mentioned, second tallest building in the city, and some of you might also know that it was used for some movie history, at least one role in a sort of recent movie, at this point a bit dated, to talk about The Dark Knight. That was a big name movie taped here in 2007. They're called Marina City because the buildings were meant to be a city within a city. Artistry. On the right, next after the bridge, you've got the oldest building on the main branch of the river, built in 1914. It's called the Reed Murdoch Center. The building gives you a good idea of what our river's architecture used to look like back when Chicago was a big industrial city. You can see that right up to the river's edge, a lot of the buildings along the river used to be like this one, right? All right up to the river's edge, because they were meant to send and receive goods from around the country. In other words, this building is one of just two of the last remaining old warehouse buildings on the main branch. These days it is no longer a warehouse, it is now office and retail space. Next on the right after the bridge, you got a tall, sleek green glass skyscraper. I'm going to guess by the cheers that somebody just got engaged on this boat. Did somebody just get engaged? Ah, yes. Oh no, there's just a party getting their wedding photos down here to our left. Happy wedding photos to these people. More importantly for those folks on that party don't look like they're having a lot of fun. Don't be fooled, they're not learning anything about architecture. We're having Yeah, that's bad. Let's move on. Above us to the right now, giant structure. Hard to miss this big building. The largest building in the world when it was built in 1931. It's called the Merchandise Mart, and it's still pretty big. It has 4 million square feet of space. It's hard to wrap your head around really how big that is. So I'll give you something else that might make it more tangible. Our tall Y-shaped river system. We are just now leaving the main branch. South branch is ahead to the left. North branch is where we're headed next. Around to, in general, I'll point out that so much has been built in this area. It's incredibly narrow base. The widest part. That it was basically a big giant refrigerator It had no windows, no balconies. Picture all brick, all four sides. That's how it looked starting in 1898 when it was built, up until the 1970s when it was converted into residences. When it was converted into residences, they of course had to punch out all the windows and balconies you see, and to update the insulation, they had to remove all the antiquated insulation stuffed between the up and down. In fact, we have more moving bridges in Chicago than any other city in the world except for Amsterdam. They beat us with more than double. We have somewhere around 40 moving bridges. Regardless, they usually don't go up and down except for 60 pre-scheduled days per year. That's about 30 days in the fall, 30 days in the spring. That's to allow for sailboat owners to bring their boats out to the lake for the summer, back in for the winter. So what's the deal with this bridge? It's always up, except for one day of the year it goes down. It's an old railroad bridge. The railroad that has the right to use it wants to maintain, still don't use it. They want to maintain that right, and in order to do that, they have to run a train across it one time a year. So one time a year the bridge goes down. They run a train across it that's one of those pickup trucks that runs on rails called a high rail truck. They back it off and then they're done. I've never seen this bridge go up and down. It is my lamest lifelong goal to see this bridge go up and down. I will see it one day, but I have not yet. Also, one of the best views from our river of our wonderful architecture. You are within the trees of this wonderful forest of amazing buildings, and you will see what I think is easy to spot. This building has all the major elements of that style, including limestone I mentioned earlier, big setbacks, sweeping vertical lines, and quite often geometric shapes towards the bottom and the top. On the lower level between the black granite building and the white one ahead of us, you will no doubt see the upper floors of the tallest building in Chicago, the Sears or Willis Tower, done by Skidmore, Owings and Merrill. I could go on. See people inside them as I glance up. Yes, there are people inside some of those windows. They are crazy. They are about 1,300 feet above us, and the only thing that stops them from plummeting to their deaths is an inch and a half of glass beneath their feet. We have this curving green glass building. Held that title as the world's largest till it was shut down by the Postal Service in 1994. It was shut down in the mid-90s for 4 decades straight, so less people means less mail. This building was simply less efficient, but also I should add that it's condition the heated side and heat the air-conditioned side. It's amazingly inefficient. Abraham Lincoln nominated on the other side, right over there. Pretty important. If you did not know that, that's okay. Those of you who do that, get plus. I was traumatized one time when I asked folks that question, and I don't ask anymore. The guy should trauma. In fact, it has to be true. The building was supposedly designed to look like a champagne bottle that had just been opened. The dark green color, just like the glass of a champagne bottle. That's not all. You have gold foil at the top, and if it had just been opened, what might you see? Champagne shooting straight up, and it's certainly one of those glazed clay. That is glazed terracotta. I'll tell you more about this later, but terracotta is a critical element to a lot of Chicago's major buildings. If you didn't know any better, you might... A grave mistake. It cost the developers untold millions of dollars in lost residential sales for those 2 floors. I should also add, it led to an unforgettable story for me one day. I finished giving a tour about 2 years ago. A guy walked up to me who'd been on the boat, and he said... river has long been a significant part of Chicago. The other part of this flag that's significant, and has been for a long time, is the brown colored background. This is not brown, the color's technically terracotta.
settle. While you're seated, though, let's give Andrew a big old round of applause again. He is perfect in every way. I told you so. Also, take a minute to look around your feet. Look for any purses, bags, cameras, cell phones, hats, kids, anything you brought on board with you. Take it off. We don't want it. Also, look for any trash you got.
अगर आपको कभी मौका मिले शिकागो क्रूज टूर पर जाने का तो आप इवनिंग का स्लॉट बुक कीजिएगा, क्योंकि इवनिंग में जब लाइटिंग के साथ जो व्यू देखने मिलता है दैट इज़ अमेजिंग। हमें इवनिंग का स्लॉट नहीं मिला क्योंकि हमने टाइम पर बुक किया। अगर आपको वीडियो पसंद आया होगा तो प्लीज़ गिव इट अ बिग लाइक। अगर आप इस चैनल पर नए हो तो प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग।